All right, everybody. So let's go ahead and talk about academic research and some things that are available to you. Let's go ahead and start with the immediate things that are available to you in your folder, inside the Gatsby folder, right? Literary lenses. And so what I've done for you here is I've taken the pages out of this text by Bresser, and I've given you the pages. So if you are doing feminism, and I'm sorry that they upload this way, I would really read this chapter on feminism. I've cut it down quite a bit, and you'll see like methodology. Here's how to implement it. You're going to see the types of questions that would be asked. And you're going to see critiques and responses. I've kept all of those for each lens. So this will prepare you for how to actually use it, and you're going to have to be able to utilize that inside of the text. And so this is a key piece. You will have a piece by Bresser as part of your Works Cited. You're also going to have a piece from Gatsby, obviously, so we want to hold on to those books. And I will give you the citation for both The Great Gatsby and Bressler. So those should be check boxes for you as you're moving through this project, making sure you've done those things. So really, as you're watching this video, it's early in the week, hopefully. So go ahead and read those things, kind of buff up on those things. And then if you have deeper questions about something like feminism, maybe Googling would help, or kind of moving in some directions where now you have a little bit of what do I know to look for. And that would help you find a couple resources. My big thing that I want us to do with this paper is think about academic research. And so I trust at this point that you can go to the St. Louis County Library and look at their databases. I also trust at this point that Google is not going to be a good resource for you, and certainly that Wikipedia shouldn't be the place where you end. So if you want to use Google Scholar is a better place to go, right? The problem with Google Scholar is that sometimes you have to pay for stuff. You would look up articles, and we don't have as many kind of breakdowns of categories as we do in some of the better, obviously paywall type places to go. But this is not a bad place to go. If I look up something like feminism here, I'm going to get books, articles, right, all these types of things, maybe I'll be able to read them from here, just depending. Excuse me. Okay, not that you're going to want to read a whole book for this project, but that gives you a sense of here's what's out there, and this is a much better place to go than just Google. Okay, so what do I really want to avoid when I'm doing an analysis paper? Well, the thing that I really want to avoid is just copying somebody else's ideas. I'd rather you pursue your own idea or your own angle of an idea than using somebody else. So what I absolutely don't want to do is look up The Great Gatsby and analysis. This is what I really don't want to do, because now I'm basically reading somebody else's paper and how they're pulling apart Gatsby. Or, the worst version of this is I'm reading somebody else's kind of college blog about it, or somebody's college paper, and their paper is not going to be any better than yours. So I really want you to stick with your own ideas and move through this process this way. So instead of doing Gatsby analysis, I might look at Gatsby and feminism, and I might look at how these two are interrelated. Confrontation between masculine and feminism and The Great Gatsby sounds like it could be really useful, something that I might want to steal a little bit from. But again, it's just a piece of what you're taking. I'm not taking that person's idea, right? So that becomes really, really important. Let's go ahead and get into some advanced stuff. So what I really want to do if I'm a SLU student is I want to go to SLU. It's actually much easier for me to go to Vanderbilt, so apologies that I'm going to go to Vanderbilt. It'll look a little different when you're at SLU, but the ideas are going to be the same, the concepts are going to be the same. So I'm going to go to my database. This is where it really, really, really pays to be a SLU student, and I think you can still register for 1818, and this would be a good time to do that. All these resources are through paywalls. This is one of the reasons that really good universities are expensive, because they have access to the most possible information. And while I'm logging in and doing all these things, you're going to notice like really good universities, they have a connection, they have a web of information that they share with other people. So for example, University of Missouri, every school in the University of Missouri system has access to all of the same databases, all of the same information. SLU, I think, pays for that. So SLU gets all of Mizzou's data, but Mizzou doesn't get all of SLU's. SLU gets like everything that Georgetown has and Villanova has and any other Jesuit university. Vanderbilt, for example, is partnered with Harvard. So I get everything that Harvard gets, and they get everything that Vanderbilt gets. So that's kind of a little way of networking, to kind of just understanding how much information is out there. And this is the good stuff, right? This is the place that I really want to go to. So if I were just to do a search, you notice I went to databases immediately, but let's go home for a second. If I were just to do a search for The Great Gatsby and feminism, this is a single search engine that is using every single database available at Vanderbilt. So it's going to take a minute here, and it's going to give me 852 results. But this is from everywhere. Now I could go to WorldCat. This is another kind of mega database. '21 results. Close reading, feminist approach to American fiction. I like something like this one because it's not specifically about Gatsby, right? This is American fiction, so I can pull in something that's not about Gatsby to talk about Gatsby, right? So that might be another approach. So when I talk about approaches, that's what I mean. Gender, race, and mourning in American modernism. So this is kind of similar in mood to some of those other things. Female power in The Great Gatsby. So when I start hitting some of these things, that would be 3 resources that might really work together to help me understand something new about the book. But, that's 21 results. That's not too bad. Let's go back to the collections. When they say collections, this is all their stuff. I think this is what's in the library. And here are some of our problems. I'm not going to be able to go to Divinity Hall on the first floor, right? I am going to be able to go to something online. So when I go to Format, Books, Libraries, I don't really want libraries, so I could take them out. Available online, yes. And I could start to change some of these things. So if I only wanted something modern, right, I could really change this. So it kind of gives me some help. But again, that's if I use the whole server and I'm looking for every single database. Let's go ahead and go to databases instead. And now I can go to subjects and I can look for something more specific. So since I'm doing feminism, I might look in gender and sexuality studies for something a little more broad. What's a topic, or maybe I want to look at fourth wave feminism or something. This database probably makes more sense. If I want to look at literature, so I did see English up up earlier, sometimes we have something specific on literature, but let's just go ahead and go to English. And literature criticism by Gale. This one's actually at the public library. St. Louis Public Library has this same database. And now, when I look at of course, I might want to use my AND functions here. See no results. Let's see if I do. Oh, again, no results. That's crippling. Might look at feminist theory. All right, so here we go. We start to get some feminist theory. Maybe I just want to use some feminist theory and then again, apply. Again, just like all research, it's a lot of hit and miss. You have to try a lot of different things. So you see me kind of cycling through a lot of different search words. And then it's, how do I want to narrow this down, right? So, man, 2,500, this is just way too many things to have to deal with, right? So it does already apply a filter of full text. So that's good, because I don't want to find something really good and then, oh, it's only an abstract, I can't find it. So I do want to news and reviews, probably not. Topic and work overviews, maybe. You know, that would narrow it down to 25. I'm already searching by relevance. Just kind of, when you're in these databases, you have to poke around. What things can I do to narrow down my concepts? We already know Gatsby's probably not going to work, so I don't want to look for that. Document type, that's what I was looking for. Ooh, here we go. So critical essay and essay. Let's just apply those two. I know that didn't really change much, but like imagine if I just applied essay. Now it's going to knock me down to 1,700, which is still unmanageable, right? But it helps a lot. Like it helps me get to, this is the thing that I really want to be looking at. See, politics and feminist theory, that's probably useful. This is probably useful, depending on what you want to do, right? So you read a little bit about this aspect of feminist theory, and then you go, oh, did I see that in the book? Can I make an argument for that? This one might be fun. You might want to watch one of the films and maybe look at some feminist film theory as well, and kind of maybe point out, you know, here's how a modern look at this classic kind of does this, or, you know, doesn't do this, right? And of course, we're looking at some other things. So like black feminist theory, probably not a good choice for Gatsby, just because we don't have any characters of color, but maybe really interesting if I want to contrast, right? Some of those things. So it kind of just depends on what you want to do. Ooh, here we have feminist Marxist theory. Now we're doubling up. So it does really kind of depend on so many things what you're going to search for. Let's look for Great Gatsby. Like I told us not to. And literature criticism. See, 904 literary criticisms of The Great Gatsby. Again, probably not the absolute best, but if I'm looking at this Gatsby and the Grotesque, this might be worth looking at. even though you're probably not familiar with what the grotesque is specifically. 21st century in Gatsby as a cultural icon. This might be really good if you're doing old historicism or new historicism. So even if you don't have your lens yet, you can kind of pick around and see, do I have some things? Do I have some starting places? And then, the academic work is you have to read these. You have to really read them. We're going to take some time to do this right. So make sure that you're going through and kind of gathering some research. Again, just narrowing it down to English narrows down my databases, helps me figure out. See, and I can even notice like American Fiction 1774 to 1920, that misses Gatsby, right? Gatsby's published in 25. Books and authors, that might be a little more helpful to me, but it's, the library is telling me these are the good databases to go to. Literature Online would probably be another really good one to go to. So again, this means more resources, more resources, more resources. All of those things kind of help you out. And we don't want to do all subjects if we can avoid it, because now you're looking in 793 databases, and you're getting all types of stuff, just all types of stuff. So the better you can sort the information, the less that the server has to organize that information, and then you can kind of narrow it down to time. Definitely full text. That's something that's really going to help you. And I would stick to articles, essays, and critical essays, maybe books, but with books you're going to run the risk of that book is in a library somewhere and you can't get it. So you have to be a little aware of that. Although you can go to SLU and get a book. If you want to, although you guys don't have a library card, so that might be a little harder, but you're in their database, and you can actually, man, I don't know with COVID, but I could give you where all that stuff is if you really want to make a day of it and go to SLU and get some books. But I don't think you have to do that. So hopefully this is a little helpful. And let me know if you need a little additional information. I can kind of push you some things.